Hey Floss Tube, welcome back. This is my 82nd Floss Tube video, and I'm excited to share with you what I've been working on this week. First of all, I want to welcome you. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the things that I have to share with you. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you for watching my videos, and I appreciate all of your comments and likes, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. It's been a great week. Everything's going well. It's been a busy day. This morning I ended up changing the oil in my wife's car, and then one thing led to another, and we ended up doing a bunch of weeding in our yard. We've had a lot of rain this week, and it's just seemed to have brought out the weeds, so we ended up pulling a bunch of weeds. So yeah, it's been a pretty busy morning. The family is doing well, and everything is going okay. So so that's good. Work is going well also. So they're keeping me busy, and I've actually had a pretty successful week. So looking forward to next week and seeing what I'm able to accomplish. So I had one question since my last video, and that was from Stitch Addict, and she asked me how many projects I am working on right now. And I have 9 projects that I'm working on, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I have reached the end of my rotation, and I think that I am going to just quickly go through all of my projects in my rotation, just to give you a feel for what I'm working on, and then we'll talk a little bit about what I'm planning on doing next week. Before we do that though, I have a couple of graphs that I want to share with you. And this first graph I'm going to show you is my stitch trend, and we are halfway through March. Yes, tomorrow is the Ides of March. So the last column is basically what I have been working on this month. So that's basically 2 weeks worth of work. And you can see that I'm almost up to the number of stitches that I did in January. That is because in February. And I think that is because in February I was working on a lot of full coverage pieces. So, but you can see the number of days that I stitched. That is remaining consistently high. I have been able to stitch almost every evening since the beginning of the year, so that's going pretty well. I like this graph. This graph is really cool to me. This is basically all of the projects that I've been working on. It's the number of days that I've been working on each project, and it's cumulative. So what that means is that as a month goes by, if I've worked on that project, the number of days that I've worked on that project gets added to that project. So this tells me the number of days, total days that I've worked on each project. And you can see since towards the end of last year, I started starting a lot of projects, and you can kind of see that because there are new blocks of color that are showing up and getting bigger as time goes on. So you can also see that the number of days, my cumulative number of days, continues to increase, and that is because I haven't had a finish for a while, and so there's no finish, there's no project that's dropping off the graph to bring things down. So yeah, it's been a while since I've actually had a finish. It feels like it's been a long time. And then I'll show you this. This is my annual start trend. And if you've been paying attention, and you'll see that the number of starts that I have made this year, I've now had 2 starts, and that is because I had a start this week. So 2 starts in 2020, and just to emphasize that I haven't had any finishes. I haven't had any finishes since the beginning of the year, so this is my finish trend, and you can see that 2020 shows 0 finishes. So that's kind of a snapshot of where we are. We're about a quarter of the way through the year. So yeah, can you believe it? We are almost a quarter of the way through the year. Anyway, so as I mentioned, I think that what I want to do is I want to just quickly, I've hit the end of my rotation. I want to kind of celebrate my rotation, kind of to give you a feel for all of my projects. You've seen them basically as I've worked through them, but this is kind of a chance to see them all at once. So we're going to start from the top of my rotation down to what I did this week. So the first piece in my rotation right now is this design. This is English Garden Sampler. It's a design by Teresa Wentzler. And this is my oldest whip. And basically the way I do my rotation, it's kind of slid up to the top because it's my oldest whip. So not only is this the order through my rotation, but it's the age of my whips from oldest to youngest. So this is a design by Teresa Wentzler. I have been working on this forever. It has taken forever to stitch, and I'm really want to get this finished this year. So this is it. That's what it will look like, and I'll show you what it looks like right now. So I am stitching this on 25 count Antique White Lugana. I am stitching with Sullivan's floss, and there is a little bit of Krynic blending filament also in the peacock's tail. So this is what it looks like right now. And you can see it's actually starting to feel like I'm going to be able to finish this at some times, because I have the border, all the cross stitch in the border. This seam is done. I'm about halfway through this fence that goes through here, and looking forward to finishing the fence. And there's another peacock. There's a peacock, its tail comes from down here, and its head is going to be right here. So I have another peacock I'm going to be stitching too. So I'll give you a little bit closer look just so that you can see a little bit more detail. I'm really happy with this, and I'm really looking forward to getting some more work on this. So even after I finish the cross stitch, there is a lot that remains to be done. There's a whole bunch of specialty stitches. You can see there's a lot of holes in the borders. That's because there's eyelets and I guess fan stitches that fill in the holes in the border. There's going to be beads everywhere. There's specialty stitches, like there's a white work band that comes through here, I think. There's a whole bunch of stuff that is left to be done. And then there's going to be cut work. So I'm going to be cutting out threads here around the border as well. So there is a lot of work left to do on this. But I think it'll go pretty quickly. I think when I get to the point where I start back stitching, I may concentrate on working on this one just to get it finished. So that is English Garden Sampler by Teresa Wentzler. So yeah, the next piece that I have been working on is the Four Seasons Primitive Quaker Year. I don't have a picture of what this looks like, so I can't show it to you, but this was the stitch along, the mystery stitch along that he did for 2018. It is now 2020. And I'm stitching this on 35 count Classic Homespun by R&R. The floss that I am using is Silks4U PR075, which is a nice deep royal blue with a little bit of tonal variegation. So this is a great big huge piece, and this is where I am with it right now. This one is really fun to stitch. As you can see, the last time I worked on it, I finished the summer block and started working on the border that goes along the bottom. So what I have left to stitch is I have the autumn block left to stitch, and then I'll have the border. There's a triangle with a motif in here and another triangle over here, kind of like the way this looks. So this is another piece that I am really happy with where I am, and I hope that I'd be able to finish this year. I'll give you a little bit closer look. I'm excited to do the autumn block actually. But winter was a really fun block. I like how it looks very snowy, and I like the trees. There's a little church right here. Spring is spring flowers. These are supposed to be cherry blossoms. And then summer is more flowers and motifs. So yeah, another piece that I hope to be able to finish this year. Okay, the third piece that I am working on is called Amid Amish Life, and it was a design that was published in the March, May, and July-ish 1987 issues of Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. So it's an old design, and it's set up to either be stitched as 3 separate pieces or as one complete piece. I am stitching it as one complete piece. It's in, not only was it in those issues of For the Love of Cross Stitch, it's also in this book, 101 Best Loved Designs from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. It's available as a leaflet as well, and so if you can find it, it's available in several different forms. And it's basically a farm scene set in Amish country. I am stitching this on 25 count Wedgewood Lugana, and I am stitching it with 3 strands of DMC, the called for DMC colors. And I'll show you what it looks like so far. Yeah, this is a good review. It's a good thing to remember where I was. So I have stitched the entire first design. I finished the first design last time I worked on this. So I am in the second design. That design is called Visiting the Neighbors. This is Hanging the Quilts. This is Visiting the Neighbors. And I am really close to the edge of the second design down here on this edge. The house is pretty much finished. I guess I should say this side of the house is finished, and I'm also I'm getting really close to finishing this side as well. So, and this has been another fun piece to stitch. I really enjoy stitching full coverage. I enjoy stitching diagonally and watching the design develop as I stitch. So that is Amid Amish Life. And as I said, that is another piece that I am looking forward to working on again. I don't I still got a long ways to go with this one, so I'm not sure that I'll be able to finish it before the end of the year. I guess we'll see. The next piece that I am working on is this. This is a piece that I started around this time last year. It's a Saviour's Prayse by Teresa Wentzler of Shakespeare's Peddler. And I am stitching this with the called for Beach Brew by R&R. It's 40 count Beach Brew. And I'm stitching with the Anchor Floss, my first time with Anchor. And there's a couple of colors of Weeks Dye Works as well. This is a wonderful design. And as we get close to Easter, I've been kind of getting the urge to work on this a little bit more. So this is what it looks like now. I think I'm getting close to halfway. I think this is about the halfway mark here. And I am, let's see, I'm basically right now, I'm working on this house. And then I need to fill in this side, and then we'll start working on what goes across the top. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I have been changing some of the words. The reason why I have been doing that is this piece reminded me of a scripture in the Doctrine and Covenants, in section 4 of the Doctrine and Covenants, because there are a lot of the traits, these words are basically traits, Christ-like attributes, I guess we'd call them. And there were some of those words that were in that verse, and I decided I wanted all of the words in the verse in here. So I have changed some of the words, like this, I changed to temperance, and this one was, I don't even remember what the word was now, is now virtue. Kindness was what Teresa charted there, so I didn't make a change there. So yeah, I really like this, and it's been great for me to stitch. I'm looking forward to finishing the house and getting this border finished as well. Okay, so that is A Saviour's Prayse by Teresa Wentzler of Shakespeare's Peddler. I don't think I'll finish that this year. I would love to, but I think it's still got a ways to go. Okay, the next piece that I have been working on is a design by Lavender and Lace, Marilyn Levitt Emblem, and it is called Queen Anne's Lace. As you can see, it's a picture of a lady in an elegant yellow dress, yellow and blue dress, I should probably say. And there is lots of metallic thread in the dress, so this is a very sparkly piece. And I am stitching this on 32 count Dirty Belfast Linen with the called for colors. And this is what it looks like right now. So I'm getting close to hitting the top of her skirt over here, and I'm looking forward to the change of making it to her bodice, and basically her hand is right here, so we'll be interested in starting to see her arm come up. And you're not going to see it very well, but there is a lot of sparkle in this piece. It's very, very sparkly and very, very pretty. Yeah, and it's a way. It's going to be a while before I actually finish this, so I don't have any hopes of finishing this year. but that's, pulling these out makes me want to work on them. Okay. The next piece is Winter Quakers. This is a design by Rosewood Manor, Karen Kluba of Rosewood Manor. And I started this beginning of December or the end of November of last year. So it's been through my rotation twice. And I am stitching this on the fabric that was called for was 28 count Dwarf by Picture This Plus, which is the fabric that I am using. And I'm also using the Valdani threads. And this is what it looks like right now. So there's lots of pretty motifs. There's the great big main center motif is right here. So I'm hoping to finish this over here and then get working on the big center motif. This has been another piece that has been a really fun stitch, and I really like how it's turning out. I like the way the colors pop. I really like this green and this purple and this red. They're really pretty colors. But yeah, so I think I'm about 30% through this. So it's got a ways to go. Okay, so that's Winter Quakers by Rosewood Manor. Okay, the next piece that I am working on is the Queen Sampler. And this is a design by Darlene Osteen. It was published in the early 2000s. Her company is the Needles Prayse. And it is basically, I wouldn't call this a cross-stitch design. It is more of a stitching. I mean, there's all sorts of specialty stitches, and there's no regular cross stitching in it. So this is the piece that I'm basically using to stretch myself, to learn different techniques. And one of the things that I am doing to stretch myself is I'm stitching it so that it is reversible, which means that it looks as good on the back as it does on the front. So, and because of that, because it's a piece that is stretching me, I'm not trying to rush through this. I am trying to stitch it very nice and learn as I go. So this is going to be worked on for quite some time. I've basically stitched the first band of letters, this band of acorns, and then the second band of letters. And I'm getting ready to stitch, there's a band of grapes in here. And that is going to be my first really big challenge, I think. So this is what it looks like so far. This fabric is 37 count Russian Teacakes. And I'm using the floss, the colors as basically Linda Vinson of Needlemade Designs did a stitch guide with suggested colors, because the colors that Darlene Osteen originally used, everything is shifted. And so if you use her colors, there are some colors that look pretty different. So Linda basically went through and chose colors to match what it looked like originally. And just for the sake of completeness, I'll show you what the back looks like. So that's what the back looks like. And it looks pretty much like the front, except for the letters are backwards. So that is the Queen Sampler by the Needles Prayse. And then the other whip that I have to show you is the whip that I worked on last week, which is the Red House Sampler. This is a design by Brenda Keys of the Sampler Company. We are doing a stitch along with this, so if you want to join me in stitching this, feel free to do so. You can participate by, when you post, use the hashtag BTL Red House Sampler, and that is how you participate in this stitch along. I have really enjoyed everybody's progress, and there is somebody last week, I can't remember who it was, somebody on Instagram last week finished this, and I'm kind of jealous because it looks so wonderful, and I'm looking forward to seeing it the way it is for me. So I am stitching this on 36 count Parchment by Weeks Dye Works. It's using the Zweigart base, and this is what it looks like. So I've got about the top third stitched, and the lights really lighten the fabric up. The fabric is a lot darker than it looks on camera. But so I've got basically the letters are all stitched, and I'm working across here. So I have basically this side is a mirror image of this side. So if you can just imagine everything flipped, you'll see what it will eventually look like. And I am really enjoying working on this too. So I don't know, I might finish this one. It seems to be going pretty quickly. It might be finished before the end of the year. But there it is. That is the Red House Sampler by Brenda Keys of the Sampler Company. Okay, so that is everything that you've seen me work on. And as I mentioned last week, I did a new start. And I decided to work on this. I decided my new start would be this. This is called The Lord is My Shepherd. Here, let me take it out. The Lord is My Shepherd. It's a design by Yvette Ungricht, and you can buy this. I've had a lot of people on Instagram ask me about this. Who's the designer? It is available on her website. If you want to purchase this pattern, I'll put a link to her website in the comments below if you want to see where to purchase it. She has a lot of other designs like this. There are a couple others that are based on verses in the Bible. She has one that is basically the story of the Good Samaritan. This is the 23rd Psalm. She has another one that's the Good Samaritan that is a lot more wordy. So I don't like that quite as much because there's a lot of text in it. But this one I really like. This is a pattern that my wife gave me for our anniversary this year. So she is really interested in seeing me stitch this because she really likes it also. So there's that. Yeah, so basically there's a shepherd with sheep up here at the top, and then there's a couple of floral bands, and then there's this scene, a forest scene, and then there's a couple of other decorative bands, and then there's like trees and fruit down here, and then there's a heart hanger band down here. So, and I'll show you how far I've progressed. This has been a really fun project for me. I have really enjoyed it. There's just enough variety that there's a lot of variety in what you're doing, and like I say, I've really enjoyed it. So this is what it looks like now. I am stitching this on 32 count Antique White Lugana. The colors here are so bright. I figured it would look better on. I figured it would look better on white. So this is what it looks like. You can see I have this needle minder. We had Gary Parr when he came and we had the men's stitch night. He gave us all some needle minders, so I've been using his Fiber Talk needle minder. But yeah, so here's the shepherd with the sheep. I really, as I was stitching this, I realized that the black sheep here, that's the sheep that is the nonconformist sheep. So I really kind of like that. And of course, then you've got text. This is a band of flowers, mostly satin stitch with a little bit of back stitch. And then here's some more flowers. These are supposed to be thistles. In the directions she says, I know that thistles aren't orange, but purple doesn't look good with these colors. So these are thistles. There's a little bit of satin stitch in the thistles as well. And then the leaves. And then you have more text. And now I've started working on the trees that surround the pond right here. So this sun is pretty much finished. There are a few more rays that go clear across here, but I haven't put them in yet because I was worried about making a counting error, so I'm going to work my way over that way. And I stitched these trees last night. So yeah, this has been really fun to stitch. There's the specialty stitches give it a little bit of variety, and it's just I haven't ever really stitched anything like this before, and I find it really, really attractive. I think that the 23rd Psalm is good for this time of year. This has felt like a good piece to stitch on since we are coming up on Easter. Easter is going to be in 2 or 3 weeks. And with the whole, and I like thinking about this psalm, especially with what's going on right now with all of the quarantines and coronavirus and stuff. So I've really enjoyed working on this. And it's gone really quickly. Like I say, I'm about a quarter of the way through, and it's gone really quickly. It's really a quick stitch for me. So, yeah, that is "The Lord is My Shepherd" by Yvette Ungricht. Okay, I guess I'll show you a couple of other things because 9's my official number, and I have some things that I've started that I intend to pick up again and start again sometime. One of them is, let's see here, 101 Alphabets, which is, this is another design by Rosewood Manor that has a bunch of alphabets. And if you've been following me, you know that I started stitching this, and there's about a week's worth of work on this. And then I stopped working on it because my fabric started to rip. So I have a new piece of fabric, and I'm just trying to, sometime I'm going to start this. Another piece, every once in a while I get a question about this one. It's been over a year since I've stitched it, and I kind of took it out of my rotation because I wasn't happy about a couple of things. This is Autumn Magic, which is a design by well, it's a painting by Randall Spangler that was adapted into a cross-stitch pattern by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm stitching this over one on 25 count Antique White Lugana. And a year ago, I said I'm not going to finish this. I'm starting to have second thoughts. So maybe sometime this year, I haven't decided when, I'm actually considering pulling this back out and putting it back in my rotation sometime. So, I mean, I've got 10 pages finished. 10 out of, it's like 60. So there's still a long ways to go, and we're starting to see the house. But yeah, I've started to think about pulling this out again, which I think that'll make some people happy. I've had a lot of people say, I really miss seeing this. So, but yeah, so there's Autumn Magic by Randall Spangler. Who knows? Maybe you'll see this a little bit more in the future. And yeah, that's about it. So I also have a couple of series that I've stitched one in the series, and one of these days I'm going to stitch the others. One of those series is the Drawn Thread Gardens. I've done Winter Garden, and there's like 3 more gardens that I want to do. There's the Cooler Design Winter Sampler that I've done. There's 3 other samplers that I really want to do. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I still want to stitch. So I have those things. They're not on my list of whips, but they're in the back of my mind. It's like, when are you going to start me? Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to work on this week. You've been through all of this, and I'm feeling kind of monogamous right now. Yeah, I'm feeling, I don't want to stop working on The Lord is My Shepherd. So I'm going to keep working on this. I'm kind of thinking, right now I'm thinking I'm going to work on this until it's finished or until we hit Easter. Whichever comes first. I don't know which one that will be, which will come first, but of course, there's always the possibility that after next week that I'll be sick of this. So there's always that possibility, but right now I'm really enjoying this, and I want to keep working on this. So I am going to keep working on The Lord is My Shepherd. I would kind of like to finish it because it feels like it is going really, really quickly. And yeah, I also want to, I think I'm going to shake my rotation up a little bit. So we'll see how this goes, but I don't think that I'm going to start, I don't think I'm going to go through my rotation the same way the next time that I actually start it. I've got some ideas. I think I want to shake things up a little bit because it's like all of my old projects are at the beginning, and I kind of would like to alternate older and newer projects because right now the first few weeks of my rotation, they kind of are starting to feel like a bit of a slog. So I'm thinking about shaking things up a little bit, and we'll see what, I've got a couple of ideas as to how I'm going to do that. I'm still thinking about that. So right now I'm going to concentrate on The Lord is My Shepherd and think through my rotation. I guess my biggest thing is 9 projects. That is getting up to my upper limit. I'm starting to feel like I have too many projects, but I want to start stuff. I want to be working on other things. So I'm thinking about what I can do to try to get some finishes so that I can start something else. Anyway, that's kind of where things stand right now. So that is all that I have to share with you today. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and follow my daily progress on Instagram. I post a picture every day that I stitch. So you can kind of follow me there and see how things are going. I am at blitstitch on Instagram. As always, feel free to comment below. I would be glad to answer any questions or respond to any comments that you have. I always enjoy hearing from you. If you haven't, feel free to subscribe to my channel. That way you can see when I post new videos. And I always appreciate it if you will like my videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that everything goes well with you as we deal with everything that's going on with regards to the coronavirus. I hope that you guys stay safe and that all goes well with you. And we will talk to you later. Goodbye.